Today we are sewing block number 5 from our pressed flower block of the month sew along from Fat Quarter Shop. This is what our block look like this month. It's called the Rose Flower. So, and I'm telling you what, this block requires you to take your time because it has a lot of sew and flip. So this is what our block is going to look like. This is what we're sewing today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take you step by step in sewing this block. I know I have a lot of beginner sewer following me, so because of that I'm going to take my time and I'm going to show you step by step on sewing this block. It does require a little bit of time, but at the end it's a very pretty block once it's done. So I'm going to pay a little attention myself in sewing this because of the amount of sew and flip that is required for this block. With that being said, let's sew this block. Now, before we sew the block, I want to ask you to do me a big favor. Can you please subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed yet? If you are here and you are watching this video, please help me out by subscribing to my channel. And if you're a subscriber of mine, I just want to take the time to say I appreciate you and thank you so much for your subscription. With that being said, let's sew this block. Here we go. I have completed the HST ahead of time to move things along, so that way it will speed things along a little bit faster. So right now what I'm going to start is the rest of the section for this block right here. This is what my pieces look like. This is my background right here on top that are white. These are my main colors, and these right here are the accent colors that I'm going to be using. Again, I'm using the Bonnie and Camille's Shine On collection for my quilt. So I hope this will inspire you to use your stash. I am using my stash for this. Here are my pieces. Oh, it's upside down, right? I guess I put it right side up. So here are my pieces that we're going to be using. I have completed the half square triangle that's required ahead of time. Here it is right here. I'm going to set it aside. The next step we are going to do for this block is we are going to take our I and C and we're going to do a sew and flip. Now when you're doing this sew and flip, make sure that you're sewing this way, not this way. You're going to sew down going this way, okay? Because you will have your sew and flip will be facing the wrong way. So it is important to sew going this way, okay? For this, we're going to flip it back. Oop, mine doesn't look quite right. So you know what? I'm going to rip it and I'm going to redo it. So when I sewed it the first time, it didn't quite line up. So what I'm doing now is going back and redoing it, because when you're doing sew and flip, it is very important for it to line up. Now this looks much better. Yep, it lines up. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to do now is iron this and then cut this right here. And then we have our second step done. So now that this is done, I'm going to set it aside like so. Okay. And so the next step we're doing is we're taking our accent, which is our L, and we're going to sew another snowball going this way, like this. Okay, and then we're going to flip it back. It is completely done. This is step number 3, done. Okay, so step number 4, we are going to take our K piece, which is another rectangle, and then we're going to sew another C onto it. And with this one, we're sewing going this way. Our step number 4 is completed, which is right there. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is take one of our main piece, our main color, and do another sew and flip. So we're doing a lot of sew and flip for this block because I guess we have to get the rows cut in certain fashion. So we're just going to do another sew and flip and get this one done. This is done. So what I'm going to do is set it aside, and I did manage to get another HST, like a bonus HST from it. So this is it right here. I'm going to press it and I'm going to save it for something later on. So we're taking another, the same size as the other one, and we're going to do another sew and flip. But this time it's going to be like this, and it's going to go like that. It's going to go from the far left this way. So this one is done. I'm just going to put it to the side like that. The next step is we are going to take, so we're going to take our rectangle, we're going to cut it diagonal to make this split block, is what I call it. So we are going to snap down the middle. So we're going to trim down the middle. I'm going to put it like on the side like that. And we're going to take our D piece. We're going to do the same thing. And we're going to cut it diagonal like that. We are going to take our accent, and then we are going to put this like this. And then we're going to bring this and put it like this. Notice that this right here overlaps, and then this overlaps with this. We're going to sew this from the beginning part right here. Okay, so I'm going to flip it like this. We're going to sew the beginning part here and the beginning part here like this. See, notice that they overlap right there. These two overlaps. So we're going to sew the beginning to the beginning like this. And then when that's done, we're going to join this and we're going to trim it to the side that it's supposed to be. So what I'm going to do now is sew this part to this part, and then come back and sew this part to this part, okay? And when I press this, I'm going to press open. So I'm going to do finger press first. We're going to go like this. And so that's done. And then I'm going to put it like this to make sure I'm still doing it right. And I'm going to come out back, and I'm going to sew this part right here to this part with the beginning part right like that. So there was a little overhang right here. So when after sewing it, there was an overhang right here. To reduce in bulk, I went on ahead and snipped it. So what I'm going to do is press this open, press it open like that, and then give it a little heat. So these are done. So what I'm going to do now is sew this 1/4 inch away from the red fabric. Then I'll trim it down. Now I just went on ahead and pinned the middle, because on the back, I don't want to sew over my point right here. So I have pinned it just so it stays in place. So I pin it right in the middle right here, and I can flip it over and see my pin is going directly towards the middle. And I did put I did a little overlap with the white fabric underneath because this is oversized. So when I flip it over, it would just be touching this point right here. Okay, let's try and see how that works out. So this is what it looks like right here. Just like that. So now it looks a little wonky. This in the instruction did say that you have to trim it to the size that it's supposed to be. So we're going to trim it to the size that it's supposed to be after I've pressed it. I pressed it down and I have trimmed it down to the size that it needed to be. So this is what it looks like. This is not my favorite square to make in any way. So that's that. Our next step is we're going to be sewing on our accent. This is going to be the leaf part of the flower. So we're going to take our end piece. We're going to make 2. So we're going to do another sew and flip, and we're just going to put it like this and sew from our upper right to our bottom left. Okay, we're going to make 2 of this. So both pieces are sewn iron, and I am pressing open on these. Next step wants us to take 2 more of the same rectangle and sew going this way. Okay, like this one right here, this one we're going to be sewing going this way. Okay, so let's do that. So this is the first one we did. Notice how the sew and flip is going this way, and then the second one that we did, the sew and flip is going this way. So it kind of looks like a little upside down heart right now. So the next thing we're going to do on this is take our teeny tiny piece of square, and then we're going to sew it to the bottom. This is the 9th step in one block. We are also going to sew another piece on the bottom right here. Both rectangles are done. Literally right now, these look like hearts. If you were to make a lot of this, you would just, if you're making a heart, you'll just sew down the middle and you will be done. But we're not doing a heart today. We are literally making a rose. So that's what we're going to do. Let me get up my sew box here. So, but anyways, I just wanted to just point that out. It looks just like a heart. So we are done with that. So the next step is we are going to take our square piece and we're going to do another sew and flip. So that is done. So I sewed a square here and a square here, flipped it, and then this is what we got. So this is the last step for this block. Now, so all the pieces that we've been sewing for the past however many minutes, is time to put them together. So now all we're doing is assembling this block, and I'm going to do that really quick and you will see what the block look like. This is what it looks like assembled right now. And I think it's supposed to, yeah, like this. So this is what it's supposed to look like assembled. And I'm going to double check it to make sure that I have this pointing the right direction. Okay, so right here, like that. Okay, so I just want to make sure real quick that I have this pointing the right direction before I actually sit here and sew the entire piece. And then I'll be mad at myself if I didn't do it right. It is sewn right, so I'm just going to sew them in quadrants. I'm going to sew this first quadrant right here, and I'm going to come back and sew this quadrant, and this quadrant, and then we'll complete the entire block. Okay. So my first quadrant is done. This is just very, very pretty. And I am sewing my back open. Okay, so that's that. So now all my blocks, this is sewn together. This is sewn right here. And what I'm going to do now is put this 3 together. Now, I'm going to point out that you do have points that will meet right here. So I'm going to pin. And then another point's going to meet right here. I'm also going to pin there. And then another point right here are going to meet. So I'm going to pin to make sure everything looks right. Other than that, our block is pretty much completed at this time. I'm going to put it the right way so y'all can see. This is what it looks like. This is what our block look like right now. Like that. Okay. This is what our block look like right here. This has to be the prettiest block ever. So this is what my block look like this month. And just like that, we have completed block number 5. I have to say, I put a little work into this rose. So if this is, if in real life, like you've put work into getting a rose, this is a work. It's not hard. I have to admit that it's just a lot of sew and flip, and it just kind of like, you kind of have to pay quite a bit of attention when sewing this block. It's not hard, just step by step, very easy to follow, but it does require some time. Now this video, it's a little bit longer because of the multiple step that required for this flower block. Again, block number 5 is completed. This is the rose block from our pressed flower sew along from Frac Shop. In this block, I use the bigger flower for this, and I use a like more no flowers, because if I use anything with flower here, it's going to look very busy. So that was why I did it this way. And then this right here just kind of, it keeps it calm. So it makes it stands out. I think it's pretty. So that's my block right there. Block number 5, all done. So if you're not subscribed to the Soul Sampler box, you can still buy this in PDF and in hard copy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are not subscribed, please help me out by subscribing down below. And if you are a subscriber of mine, I do really appreciate it. Until next time, I would love to catch you on my next video. Have a great day. Bye.